Okay, this is problem number, I think this is 8. If I'm wrong, just double check. So we'll call it 8, and it says find the vertex, focus, and directrix of the parabola, and then we need to sketch the graph showing them all three of them. So our equation is y squared minus 4y minus 2x minus 4 equals 0. When we're working with parabolas, we have these two equations, standard equations, we want to get them to look like. Since we have a y squared minus 4y, we're going to look at this top option, so not this bottom one. So we want it to get to look like y minus k, quantity squared, equals 4p times the quantity x minus h. So that means we need to get the x terms on the other side. So we have y squared minus 4y minus 2x minus 4 equals 0. We're going to add the 2x to both sides, so we have y squared minus 4y minus 4 equals 2x. And since the y squared minus 4y minus 4 we can't write as a factor, we need to use the, we need to complete the square. So we have y squared minus 4y, and I always add this number and leave a space, and then we have the negative 4 from before, and then whatever we added we're going to need to subtract, and then we still have the 2x on the other side. The reason we have to subtract that number is because we need to make sure both of these equations are equivalent. We don't want to do anything illegal. So now when you complete the square, you take half. You take half of the 4 and you square it. So half of 4 is 2, squared is 4. And we added 4, so we need to subtract 4. So now we can write this as y minus 2, quantity squared. And we have that negative 4 minus 4, so we have a negative 8 equals 2x. Now we can look at our equation and see what we need it to get to look like. We need it to look like y minus k quantity squared by itself. So we need to add that 8 to the other side. So we have y minus 2 quantity squared equals 2x plus 8. Alright, we're almost there. Now we need to have that x minus some number. So we're going to go ahead and pull out a 2 on the right side, and that's left with x plus 4. We'll go ahead and rewrite the y minus 2 quantity squared on the left. Okay, now that we have that, let's shrink this a little bit. Now we can find the vertex. But first we want to find what p is, and the coefficient in front of the unsquared part, and I'll highlight that. So we have, this is the unsquared part. The coefficient in front, which is 2, is equal to 4p. So 4p equals that 2. So we know that p equals 1/2. Okay, now we can find our vertex. Our vertex is going to be the same k that we had. And in our equation, if we look back up at the first equation, we're using k is grouped with the y. So our value that we want to have here, this should look like hk. Our 2 is going to go here, and our h is grouped with the x, but in our original general equation it says x minus h, and in our equation that we have here it says x plus 4, so this needs to be a negative 4. Okay, now we can find our focus, and the focus for this equation is going to be p plus h and then our k. So we know our k right away is 2, and then our x value is going to be p plus h. Our p was 1/2, and the h that we had before was negative 4. So negative 4 plus 1/2, and we get negative 7/2. So that will be part of our focus. And now that we have those two, we can find our directrix, and we'll write that as L. And we know since the form is in this since the equation is in this general form, that it's going to be x equals, and it's the same distance from the vertex to the focal point. So from the vertex to the focal point, we have a -4, and then we have a -7/2. The distance between those is a half. So we need to go from the focus point, from -7/2, we need to go an additional half from that point. I'm sorry, from the vertex. So let's see. So it's -4 minus another half. That's -9/2. So we know that our directrix is -9/2. And all we have to do is graph it now. So if we make some space, our graph is going to look like we have, let's plot the vertex. We have -4 and then 2. That's our vertex. Our focus is -7.5, 2. So it's going to be right where that V is. We'll make it red. So our focus is in red. So -3 or -7.5, 2. So that's -3.5, 2. So about right there. And then our directrix, go ahead and make in green. And that is -9.5. So that will be x equals -9.5. So that's our L. So now we can go ahead and graph this parabola if we wanted to.